This height stuff kind of proves, there's a new study in 2020, 152 countries. They found that the more high quality animal proteins you eat, the taller you are. And it's just so dead on, you know?
All right, guys, very important episode today. Got Brian Sanders here. He's been working the past 6.5 years on a food documentary called My Food Laws. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man, good to be here.
Dude, 6.5 years.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It's not easy to make a documentary. No one wants to fund it. And we're just trying to get the truth out there about food, and it goes against the main narratives.
Yeah, because the big food industry definitely doesn't want to fund that. So finding outside investors is difficult, I'd assume.
That's it. And yeah, everything that is in the mainstream is about processed foods and profit. And everything we're talking about is about whole foods and meat. And there's just a big attack on meat lately too.
Right. And it seems to be the percentage of processed foods in America just keeps going up every year.
It's how you make money. I have a company called Nose to Tail, and we just sell meat. We do regenerative agriculture. We raise animals the right way. And we actually stopped selling meat as of basically today.
Whoa, what do you mean?
Because we just didn't make any money.
Really?
Yeah. There's no profit margin. I realize how the world works. It runs on profit margin, right? So if you raise animals or you just, you try to grow grapes, you're not going to make that much money, right? There's not a huge markup on grapes or meat.
Yeah.
But if you process it and put it into a box and you have a long shelf life and you add in usually seed oils, added sugar, refined grains, these are the three main ingredients, all of a sudden you have a very cheap product that you can sell for a high profit margin, right? Like a box of cereal. What is a box of cereal? It's like 5 cents worth of cereal, right? And then it's $5, $6, right? If you sell meat, it costs me like $12 to get the meat to people, and we can only charge about 13.
Wow. So low margins.
Yep.
Dang, that makes a lot of sense because cereal uses the cheapest ingredients.
Yeah. And then that's how the whole world works, right? It kind of snapped into focus when I started this company and thought I was going to, everyone likes meat. I have a podcast, people are going to buy it, but it doesn't matter because I just didn't have the profit margin. Then these cereal industries, processed food, anything, they can do all the studies to try to make their products seem okay. Yeah. They can do the lobbying. They can do the marketing, right? It's just all the world is run on the processed foods.
They did a phenomenal job with that Cheerios marketing campaign about the heart health studies. They got me on that one.
It's still on the box, that little logo.
Yeah. My whole childhood, I was like, oh, this is healthy, Yeah. And little did we know it probably isn't. I mean,
I don't think so. No. I haven't eaten cereal in years. I gave up those foods. It was actually about 10 years ago.
Yeah. You don't eat sugar.
Yeah. I just gave up the anything that's made with added sugar, refined grains, or seed oils. 10 years ago, actually, I read Mark Sisson's book. Mark Sisson.
Yep.
He's like 70, right? He's the man.
He looks good.
He looks amazing. I read his book, and it changed my life. And so I just started going down this path.
Yeah, and you're looking great, man. You're probably feeling better now than you did 10 years ago.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm 40. Yeah, people think I'm a lot younger. I was 30. I was getting the dad bod. It was not good, right? I was just going downhill quickly. I was on different medications, starting to get that belly, low energy, joint pain, all that stuff that people get, like acid reflux, and it just all went away when I just got rid of those ingredients.
Wow. I had that too in my 20s. I used to get heartburn. I was like a young 20s.
Exactly.
It's crazy. And
it goes
I found
away.
out it was diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unreal. I found out I had the gene break, the MTHFR one, and I was eating tons of gluten and bread and cereal and stuff. And it was all because of that I had acid reflux. To the point where I almost went to the hospital a few times for it. I thought it was a heart attack. Like,
really?
It was that bad, yeah.
Yeah, get it out.
In your 20s, man. Like that shouldn't be happening to people.
Yeah, well, that's normal now. I feel like we're going to go in two different ways as a society, where there's a few people that understand this stuff, and they're just going to be these fit, healthy people, and then 95%, they just buy what people market them.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lack of education, but I think social media is helping, because when I was in high school, we were eating like the school lunch. I mean, I don't know what they served in your school, but that stuff was god-awful.
Yeah. Well, yes, it always is. It's a profit thing, right? It's like the school, they're not so interested in keeping everyone healthy. They're interested in, not going out of business. And they're like, okay, well, where can we cut corners?
Right.
And the food, you could pay like 50 cents, $1 for these cheap lunches. It's like, there's no real interest in them paying like $5.
Yeah.
You know, for like really good quality food.
Definitely not. My school used to order the leftover pizza from Domino's every Thursday. And I grew up in a pretty like, upper middle class town, and I went to Rutgers, which is like, I don't know, it's probably like $30K a year now. College keeps going up, and the food lunch there is just terrible.
It's how the world works. You got to like purposefully go out of your way to avoid it, right? And that's why most people just get caught up into it, because they're not purposely finding out this information.
Yeah.
Unless they're, I'm glad you have a lot of people on the show. I've noticed some of my pals, Lane Norton and Dave Asprey and Callie Means have been on recently.
Yeah.
Like some of these guys are in my film, and they're unless you're out there listening to these podcasts, you're not going to know this.
Yeah. And it's super important. There's also a lot of misinformation, right? When the plant-based movement came out, they were promoting Beyond Meat like it was super good for you.
Yes.
And now they have seed oils in them and all this weird stuff.
So the plant-based movement is interesting. I always try to figure out, where did this come from? Because for all of history, humans have valued animal foods as the healthiest things, and it's what we wanted, right? This is what we strove for. Even now, like in Asia, in China, they're more developing, and every person wants meat. It's a sign of health and wealth, right? You strive, you work all day so that you can afford the meat, so you can be healthy. And yet, in our modern world, with all of the advertising and the, I think, misinformation, they're trying to tell people to go away from meat. And I think there is a big agenda there that goes back. I don't know if you're a conspiracy guy or...
No, I'm into it, man. Let's hear it.
Well, I mean, I think there's stuff going on for like over 100 years of of just people at the top with their agenda. And so I don't think these people are necessarily evil, but it kind of ends up not benefiting the lower people. Yeah. Right? Like, have you gotten to the Federal Reserve at all? Like,
no.
Oh man, the Federal Reserve, it's not part of the government, right? These guys, there's these bankers, and I think it was 1913, 1914, took the Federal Reserve away from the government, and they kind of make the rules.
Interesting. So who owns that then?
Which is a private institution. It's not. Yeah, the Federal Reserve is not part of the government.
So no one knows who
Well,
owns
no, I mean, we know. It's just these bankers. There's a book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. There's actually lots of books about this. So people have written about it. It's just no one knows about it.
Dang.
And so yeah, not part of the government, but they work together with the government. But these people are so powerful. They had so much money. These are the big people like Chase, JP Morgan Chase, Rockefellers, the big families you've heard of that made all the money in oil and trains and, all these big industries back in the day. They had so much money that I think they still have influence on how society has gone. Right?
I can see that.
And the media, people know the media is controlled by, just a few organizations.
Yeah.
And so they got the monetary system, they got the media, the education system even. There's a great book called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. And this woman, Charlotte Iserby, wrote about how they've been purposefully just dumbing us down, just not wanting critical thinkers. They want people to just work in a factory or work, kind of just have a normal job, cog in the machine type of thing. And so there's a lot of these things that started a long time ago that just push society in a certain way, right? And it's kind of going that way more recently. Since COVID, I feel like there's a lot more going on, right?
Yeah.
Where there's just kind of more control, more power to the top.
I could see that. They also sparked another side to wake up, though, too.
Yeah.
Like a rebellion.
Exactly. That's the good thing. That people are now waking up. That's when I woke up a lot more. I was like, why are all these things happening this way? Like, why does it keep going in a certain direction it's not good for us? It's not good for personal freedoms or personal health. And then I kind of realized the way the world works, these power dynamics, it's just sort of a law of nature. It's like what's good for someone at the top is almost always bad for the person at the bottom. And what's good for someone at the bottom is kind of bad for the person at the top. If we're all super fit and healthy, that's not necessarily great for them. We're not going to be in the sick care system. We're not going to be buying all the processed foods. We're not going to be stuck on pills and procedures and,
Right.
So this is a little bit of the conspiracy world, right? You see on the Instagram, like they want you sick, all that type of thing. And so I don't think that they're like evil, they want you sick, but they kind of do in a sense where like that's how the business works.
100%. It makes sense if you're looking at it just from a numbers point of view, right?
Yeah. And that's how they kind of see it. It's just, well, we have a business, like a hospital is a business. It's not some magical place that just wants you to be healthy and live to 100. It's a place that wants to charge you, $300 for an aspirin and, upcharge you on procedures and pills and, right? It's a business.
It's pretty crazy. I went to the ER the other day for like a couple hours, $12,000 bill.
It's a racket.
I mean, it's insane.
It's a racket.
And if you want insurance as a self-employed entrepreneur, it's super expensive.
Yeah.
It's tens of thousands if you want the best one.
Yeah. I don't know what to do about it. There's little alternatives. Crowd Health is one. I have no affiliation with it.
Is that Tony Robbins?
No, it's just this guy in Austin started it.
Okay.
But you can have your own sort of group. People just put in their money together, and if something happens, then the group pays.
Oh, nice. I'm gonna look into that. I'm in a weird dilemma because I don't believe in Western medicine, but at the same time, if we go to the ER or have a kid, I kind of want that to be covered. So I kind of need insurance.
That's how I do it. So I don't have I haven't been to the doctor in forever. So I just have sort of like a functional medicine person that I can talk to. And then I have the Crowd Health, and then I'm covered if I get in an accident.
Wow, I'm gonna look into that. Hopefully they have it in Vegas, or is it just in
It's
Austin?
nationwide. No,
it's nationwide.
And you pay less because a bunch of healthy people do it.
Right.
So you don't. It's like $150 a month or $180 a month.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Dude, right now I'm paying like $600 a month for like a cheap plan.
Check it out. Yeah.
Like that plan didn't even knock off anything off the ER bill.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out Andy.
Shout out to Crowd Health, man. We'll link that below too, because a lot of entrepreneurs watch this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't go to doctors, man. I used to trust them as a kid growing up, listen to every single thing they said, take this antibiotic, whatever. And now I don't do any of that.
That's how I got started on my journey with my film, the series, Food Lies, is my parents did that. And I was doing that, right? I was telling you, I was 30, dad bod, getting the medications. My parents, I lost both of them. I actually was just in Hawaii. I flew in last night for my mom's funeral, actually.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she had Alzheimer's, so it was like a 10-year journey.
Jeez.
So it was not unexpected that this happened, but I lost my dad about 9 years ago, and my mom just a month and a half ago, because they just followed the standard advice. I think that had a big piece of the puzzle was, obviously there's some genetic stuff, right? It's Alzheimer's is partly genetic, but I think it's more your environment, your diet and lifestyle, and then that will express the genes. And I've interviewed tons of scientists and researchers about this.
Yeah.
And they think that yes, there is the Alzheimer's. You heard of ApoE4, right?
I have that one too.
Yeah. So I think that is the most ancient phenotype, the ancient genes of like hunter-gatherers. And these are the people that will get more Alzheimer's because they're least suited in the modern environment, right? They're least adapted to the modern diet and lifestyle. That makes sense, right? So you have less wiggle room. You can't just be eating like everyone else. So I have that probably. I never actually got the test, but since my mom, I was assuming I have it. So what that says to me, and what I've interviewed a lot of the doctors and researchers about, is that I just need to eat more like my ancestors, eat real foods. I don't get away with just eating modern foods, junk food, all the stuff that normal people eat.
Yeah. I've also interviewed some really intelligent people on this topic, and they're saying genetics are about 10 to 20%, and diet and lifestyle is the rest. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there really is like kind of an 80-20 rule about it. And yeah, I think it drives the biggest change is you don't have to do anything with your lifestyle even. You could just change your food and you can lose 100 pounds. You can change your whole life just by changing the foods you eat.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm making this. I'm just obsessed with this. It's been 6.5 years full time, but it's all I think about.
Full time? Wow.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's pretty full time, but I've started some businesses along the way.
Yeah.
Just to get by, obviously. But
can't wait to see it, man. So you mentioned hunter-gatherers earlier. You spent some time with some hunter-gatherers in Tanzania?
Yeah.
Tanzania.
So for the series, we went 3 years. Oh, no. It's been 2 years ago. Yeah, we went to Hadza and the Maasai. And it was crazy. Like, these people are still living the way we used to.
Wow.
And they're healthy and they're strong. And the Maasai, they're famous for drinking blood and milk. You heard about these guys?
I haven't.
They drink blood and milk as a meal.
Wow.
And then they'll eat meat they'll kill a goat every once in a while and eat that. And then they'll go back to blood and milk as their daily diet.
Holy crap.
It has all the nutrition you need. And they're some of the tallest people ever. The Maasai are famous for jumping too. They jump really high. And they
I've
do
seen
dances.
that. They're like pogo sticks, right?
They do that, yes. And I tried to jump with them, and I thought I could jump. because I was in track, I was doing high jump, I was doing this stuff.
Yeah.
I look like a clown. I have a video and I'm jumping about this high off the ground. They're like triple.
I think I've seen that video. I think that got a ton of views, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just healthy. They're strong. They live how we used to live. And the Hud's a totally different tribe that they're out there hunting. So yeah, we went on this 8-hour hunt with them. It was wild.
That's awesome. The NBA needs to get over there and recruit some of those guys because they were jumping like I don't even know how many feet.
Well, they're eating real food, and then also we're talking about height before we started recording too, because that's really interested to me.
Yep.
You're a tall guy.
6'6".
Yeah. So on a population level, nutrition is very correlated to height, right? So it's like how do you know how healthy someone is, and so how long they live is an indication, right? There's like the blue zones, which I kind of like to debunk.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
I think that's kind of bogus, but
really?
Some of it's mainly true, but the diet part is not true.
Got it.
They're eating whole foods. Like the guy Dan Buettner tries to say that it's because they're plant-based when they're actually not. And I visited some of them, and some of my researcher friends have visited them, and they're not plant-based.
Interesting.
But they're doing everything else right. They're outside. They're moving, exercising. They're living with a strong sense of purpose and community. Right. They're doing a million good things, and they're also just eating whole foods. And some of them, yes, they're eating less animal foods than others,
right?
But that is not why they're healthy. So this height stuff kind of proves that, because it's a great study. 2016, there's Grassgruber. If you can look it up, 105 countries correlates to height, and there's a new study in 2020, 152 countries, and they found that it's a pretty direct correlation. I showed you that image. Maybe that
throw
image
it
on
up.
the screen. That the more high quality animal proteins you eat, the taller you are. And it's just so dead on. It's just the countries that don't eat enough meat, they're short. And there's actually another study, there's a lot of childhood stunting. If you're not getting enough animal protein, you will actually have stunted growth, right?
Wow.
Really short. So I'm also saying it's not like you could just eat meat and become tall, right? That's not how it works. I mean, you can reach your full height potential by eating the high quality protein. So these are dairy, red meat, pork, eggs, and they actually had potatoes in there, which isn't high quality protein. But they said might be a spurious little thing. So these foods directly correlated to the population height. So you can tell that these people are healthy and strong because the study talks about why. Right?
Yeah.
It's like if you're getting the high quality protein, you can reach your full height potential. And then there's this other piece of the puzzle. Have you heard about 70,000 years ago, we got down to only a couple thousand people?
No, I never
You
knew
heard
that.
about this? Yeah, I heard probably on Joe Rogan's. Some of his guests were talking
Classic.
about it. Yeah, how does anyone know anything? Oh, I heard on Joe Rogan. No. So I looked it up. No, so it's a real thing. It's 70,000 years ago, there's this big volcano that went off, and we had between, say, 1,000 to 5,000 people left on Earth. And so that was only 70,000 years ago. So we're all kind of related to those people, right? We all came there was a constriction, right? So from there, all of modern people, different races, came from.
Wow.
Right? So our genetics, so why do people become taller than others? Why are certain races shorter than others? And no one talks about it. The guy who wrote the study wouldn't even come on my podcast.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. He said he just doesn't have good English.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. No one wants to talk about it with me. I asked certain scientists, because I don't know if it's a touchy subject of like height for a race, but the point is we all came from people 70,000 years ago. So these people turned into African American, Asian, white, the three main kind of races, and there's different heights. And you can also look at there's a map on the study of the world, and it's as you go away from the equator, people get taller. So people on the equator are shorter. And the people on the equator are eating more just rice and just lower quality foods. So
because it's too hot for meat
it's just harder
animals.
to get big animals. Yeah.
Right.
So and up north, like the tallest people in the world are these Norwegians.
Wow.
These guys, and they're super tall, super strong, healthy, and they're eating tons of animal protein.
Yeah, elk and
Yeah,
deer.
they got all of that stuff. And so genetics, people say it's genetic. Oh, your height, you're tall, is genetic. But it's like, well, how? Like, where did these genetics come from? Right? Because we all were from this group of people 70,000 years ago. So why did we go in these different directions? And it's because of diet. It's because of what we ate that determined the genetics.
Interesting. So you think it can really like affect you like inches wise or just like on a minuscule level?
Well, you can. Like I said before, it's like it's more, you can reach your full potential if you get enough quality animal protein. You can't just start eating a lot of meat and just be super tall.
Right. You also have to do it growing up because once you're 18, you stop growing. So
you have to do it growing up. And this is all in the study. It's amazing. And even the like wheat and rice and stuff, it's correlated with low, like people are shorter who eat more of that.
That's great to know though, because with my kids, I'm going to take the diet super serious and see if they end up taller than me.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you though, there's something to it that we want to know why are people, like, because you can eat any diet and people say, oh, I feel fine, right? There's all these plant-based people that say they're healthy, and maybe they are. But you have to zoom out, because I'm really interested in what is the best diet, or like, is there a pattern? And so these things like the population level height gives you a clue. Yeah. Right? You have to put it together with all the puzzle pieces. So a lot of people, they just, like the Blue Zones guy, he was just a vegetarian, plant-based type of guy. So he just went in there and cherry-picked only what he wanted to see. And he's just saying that it's because they were plant-based, but it's not true.
He was biased.
So over the years, it's good that it took me this long to do the film. So I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, so many of these doctors and scientists. And so each year, I feel like I zoom out a little more and become more unbiased. Like in the beginning, I was a little bit biased, right? Because I did a certain diet and it worked for me. So I thought that was the one way to do it. But now I realize you have to zoom out, right? You have to look at the pattern. It's not just one way of eating, right?
It's a full thing. It's not just diet.
Well, that too, yes. So it's way beyond, it's your lifestyle, but also just even with the diet part, it's not like, okay, you just be carnivore and that's it. Or like, you just have to be paleo and that's the answer. It's kind of more the composition of your diet over time, the nutrient to energy ratio. I don't know if this is going to get too technical, but
nutrient to energy
ratio. There's basically food is four things. It's protein, it's vitamins and minerals, it's fats and carbs, right? So the protein and vitamin and minerals, those are your building blocks, right? That builds your body. The fats and carbs kind of just run your body, right? So it just gets you through the day, right? So you need both of those, but there's a ratio between those that you want. Does that make sense? So this is what I was looking at the study, the population height. People who ate a higher amount of the protein and nutrients, they became taller over thousands of years. And the people in Asia, a lot of Southeast Asians are the shortest people.
Indians, right?
And they're eating tons of just rice and, just
vegetables.
low quality. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with vegetables. They're just not nutrient dense. They don't have a lot of protein. They're just there, right? They're fine. They're not going to build your body into its full potential.
Right.
So if you do zoom out, you could see, okay, well, let's look at the dietary composition. Let's eat more protein, more meat and eggs and stuff, and just cut down. I mean, I still eat rice. I'm not against rice. I was before, but that's what I say. I zoomed out, right? I learned more. I thought rice was bad. Then I realized it's not bad. It's just people are eating too much of it. If you make a diet, I was just in Hawaii. People eat a lot of rice. You heard of plate lunches? Have you ever been to Hawaii?
No.
Plate lunches, it's just like 2 scoops of rice, a scoop of mac salad.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like,
I would hate that.
It's so bad. Mac salad, it's just like some seed oil dressing and like cheap noodles and then some meat, right? So it's a lot of rice, a lot of those empty calories, and then some meat. What I do is I kind of eat the opposite. I'll get double meat and just 1 scoop of rice and no mac salad, right? So that just changed the entire nutrient to energy ratio of my diet, right? I flipped it into something that makes, that I think is, how we thrive, how we have the best.
Yeah. That's super fascinating. So on the chart you showed me, I believe Netherlands were the tallest people, right?
Yeah.
So if you took a country like China or India, which people are pretty short there, gave them the Netherlands diet, do you think over some lifetimes they would eventually get to their height?
100%.
Wow, just from diet.
Yeah. It would take many generations. That's what I was saying. 70,000 years ago, we were all the same height. 70,000 years ago, we were all, who knows, 6 foot African people, right? And then we diverged into all these different people. And it's just based on our diet. What else is, the environment can change too, but.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how no one talks about this actually.
Yeah.
Because there are certain races that are taller and shorter, and no one really questions why.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, genetics, but no one
Where
really,
did the genetics come from?
yeah, no one dug deeper into it.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Wow. That gives hope for all those short people out there, though.
It's a long road, though.
Yeah. I'm interested, though, because I'm half Chinese, but I'm still tall. So that something must have happened there.
Well, I think we have these ancient genetics. They're still in there. And then if you can express them, like maybe your ancestors got more meat, right? They got more quality eggs, fish, whatever it was, more quality protein.
Yeah, that's cool. So what diet did you end up sticking with?
Oh, well, I just call it Sapien. Sapien diet, Sapien living. It's just the human way of eating. So it's just a framework. And the framework is just make sure you get enough high quality animal proteins, eggs, fish, meat, whatever, and just try not to have the extra energy. Energy sounds like a good thing, but energy is calories, right? It's like try not to have the extra, too much empty calories.
Right.
Like you get rid of the seed oils, added sugar, refined grains, that type of stuff. Those are just pure empty calories. They do nothing for you, but if you eat too much of them, you get fat, right? So the simplest way of eating is just eat animal-based foods as your source of protein and nutrients, and whole foods on the side.
I love that.
And that's it.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. And you can't debunk it. It's just like, that's what we always ate.
Yeah. When you interviewed these people in the blue zones, was there anything interesting you saw them doing outside of diet?
Oh, yeah. They have everything dialed in, right? So it is more than diet. That's why I said Sapien lifestyle. They are outside moving. These people are gardening. Like, have you seen some of these like little
in Italy,
things?
Right?
Yeah. There's shows or different things that everywhere. Okinawa, like, these people are gardening. They are walking up hills. They're not in a car, right? They're moving their body. They're out in the sun. They're getting vitamin D. They're living with their family, and they have like a sense of community and sense of purpose.
Yeah.
They're sleeping. They're not like in some city. These blue zone people, they're not, living in some New York high rise, like up all night, working on the stock exchange. Like they're out there living like humans. And then the diet part, they're eating real food.
Yeah, the city stuff is crazy. So I had Max Lugavere on here last week, and he was saying the health concerns of living in a city that's polluted can take, up to years off your life.
That's it. That air quality, the water quality, all this stuff. Yeah, Max, I think he's been making his documentary for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was working on one.
Oh, it's Alzheimer's. Yeah, he just came out with that. He's kind of showing it around.
Nice.
Same thing with his mom. She got Alzheimer's and it woke him up.
It's crazy, man, because a lot of people, have kids in cities, and he said the autism rate or something is way higher. And it's because of the air quality, I believe.
It's a lot of things. It's like your body just wants to live like we did 70,000 years ago.
Right.
It wants clean air and clean water and sun and movement and real food, and we're just not giving it that. Right? It's like obviously it's going to go bad, right? Your body expects something, and if you don't get what it expects, it's going to go haywire. And for some people it could be Alzheimer's, for some people it could be cancer, or could be obesity, diabetes. So you just need to, I don't think we need to go live in a hut or go live in in the middle of the forest. You just need to do simple things to set yourself up for success. Maybe move out of the city.
Yeah.
Just go on the outskirts and don't get like all the pollution and bad air. Like just start eating more real foods. Like start moving more. It's simple.
Agreed. And going back to the purpose thing, so I have Kian Vu coming on next month, a doctor in LA, and he was saying there's some studies on purpose now and how having it can actually increase your lifespan.
I believe that. Yeah, there's people who, like their wife dies. Well, part of it could be love, perhaps, but they just have no purpose anymore, right? If you retire, a lot of people die, right?
Yeah.
You just die soon after you retire. That's part of being human, is having something to do, being useful in a society. And like I'm worried about society. This person will probably talk about this. Of our society it's so kind of fake and weird that people are losing the sense of purpose, because what is there to do? You're not productive member anymore. Right? In a tribe, everyone's productive and does something. And now people like jobs are going away, and technology is taking people's jobs. So what are they going to do?
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see numbers on unemployment lifespan versus employed, and see if there's a difference there. He was saying up to 7 years, just having purpose.
I bet, yeah.
Which is a lot of time.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And I recently found mine, but it took me a while. I think it's really hard to find for some people.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely found mine. just spreading this information. But I could tell if I had a normal job, I was a mechanical engineer, I was not going in a good direction. Like I just felt like, the Sunday scaries, that type of thing.
Yeah. Hated
Right?
Mondays.
Yeah, I do not have that at all anymore.
Same.
Not even in the slightest.
I love Mondays now, actually,
Yeah.
because people are working, and I get to talk to everyone again. Weekends, I'm like itching to work.
Yeah.
That's how it should be, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else in your documentary that people should keep an eye on?
Oh man. Yeah. Well, we cover all this. It's a 6-part series. Like there's never been a film or series made that covers this correctly. Right now there was a Blue Zones documentary on Netflix, right? And it's Dan Buettner and it's biased. There was vegan films on Netflix. The Game Changers was really popular, right? Cowspiracy. Right now there's only one message that's been made, and it's really just around this plant-based narrative. And so we're really just trying to make the ultimate piece of content that will tell people what to do and how to have the framework, right? Not tell them exactly what they need to eat, but give them the knowledge,
Right.
So we have to go back to human history and talk about how we got here. We have to go to 100 years ago of like when Weston Price went around the world and found out. Basically, have you heard of Weston Price?
No.
Oh man, he's so interesting. He is a dentist 100 years ago, went around the world, and he looked at all these populations that were really healthy. He's a dentist, so that he thought, why are people having such bad teeth? That's not natural, right? We wouldn't be around if our teeth were falling out, right? That doesn't make sense. And so he went around the world and he found all these people that were eating real foods, of people who weren't contacted by industrial society yet, right?
Yep.
He found a few people in the 1930s, and they all had amazing teeth, almost perfect teeth, no cavities, wide jaws. They lived long, they were healthy, they were strong, and they all ate real foods. They were all based on animal foods and real foods. And then as soon as the sugar, flour, oil came in, right? As soon as they got contacted through commerce and like a port would open up and they'd have a ship coming in and they would trade, they would start getting in all the sacks of sugar and flour and oil. And then they got sick very quickly and their teeth started getting messed up and falling out. So he figured this out a long time ago. This like anti-seed oil thing, it's not a new thing.
Wow, this was 100 years ago, you said?
Yeah. Oh
Holy
yeah, there's a
crap.
whole book. This book is called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration.
That's crazy.
It's an amazing book. It's hard to read, but he documents this whole thing. And it's about how to have healthy children, how to thrive. I give it to people who get pregnant, my friends. I send them the book if I found out they're pregnant.
Yeah.
And what they all have in common is they were completely uncontacted people, right? He went to Africa, Asia, islands in the middle of nowhere, and they all did the same things without knowing it, right? Humans knew that they were getting the most nutrient dense part of the animal. They were eating raw milk. They were eating the eggs. They're eating fish. They're eating the bone marrow. They're eating the liver, the organs. They all knew this independently, and this is how they had strong, healthy children. It was just common knowledge.
Wow.
And so, yeah, this stuff is not new. We're just trying to take this film and we'll turn it into a series and let people know about this stuff, right? Because you have to listen to thousands of hours of podcasts and go to conferences and read weird books that no one's heard of, like the book I just mentioned, to figure it all out. But luckily, some of it's coming out on social media, right? People know that seed oils are bad now, right? People know like, oh, wait, maybe organ meat is good. Liver King's out there. Okay, good. But we need to put it all in one package.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we're doing. And even the environment side, right? People might be saying, okay, well, meat is good. Maybe they believe me, but they're like, but it's bad for the environment.
The cows.
And I've said, no, absolutely not. That is our last episode is about this, the environmental side. And I think that's another one of these agendas.
That was a huge one. Yeah. The cow farts.
I just saw the World Economic Forum put out a thing about the bison and how great they are and they're restoring the land. I'm like, yeah, bison are just like cows. They still burp and fart and they still do the same thing. So why are you guys saying that cows are bad when you know that bison are good for the land?
Yeah.
And so I just think it's another one of these agendas where they need, for processed foods to be bad, for processed foods to be good, your meat needs to be bad. Does that make sense? It's kind of the opposite. It's like saturated fat, cholesterol. They have to blame that so that they can have all these processed foods be, quote, good. You know what I mean? The food pyramid, it's based on the cheapest foods, and there's another story of how much money, we have subsidies on corn, wheat, and soy, and it's just a cheap way to feed the population. And so then we have to tell people that meat and fat are bad for you. So then what's the opposite? Well, it's all these products that are low fat, right? The whole like 90s, 80s, it was like low fat everything.
Yeah.
And I think that screwed us. I think that screwed my parents. That was screwing me.
Wow.
Because it's just wrong. Yeah.
They really pushed that food pyramid growing up, man.
Yeah.
And dairy's on there. They pushed milk growing up. Now there seems to be a lot of issues with milk if you're not drinking raw milk.
Yes, there's a huge difference. Yeah, I'm very much into raw. I didn't drink milk for years because I think pasteurized milk and this like low-fat milk is bad.
Yeah.
And it causes a lot of problems and a lot of people can't handle it. But if you start drinking raw milk, it has the enzymes you need to digest it. And so you can slowly introduce it and it can be a healthy thing to eat.
Yeah, I eat raw cheese now too.
Yeah.
I stopped eating cheese. I found out Pfizer is in like 90% of cheeses.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
They get their fingers into everything.
Yeah.
But it's just commerce. I'm telling you, it's just corporate interests. And that's how these narratives change. That's why the whole climate thing I'm talking about, the cows' meat are bad. It's because they're not making any money off people drinking raw milk and eating meat and going to your local farmer's market.
Yeah.
They make $0 from that. They're actually losing money because I started doing that. Everyone I know, I'm in Austin, everyone does that. None of these people have doctors.
Right.
None of these people are using the sick care system. We're all just going to our farmer's market, keeping ourselves healthy. We're not contributing any money towards their system, right? So it just kind of makes sense that they're going to try to blame things that go against their agenda. Their agenda is just to keep the status quo of sick care system, big food, big pharma, all that, and they're just making more and more money, and so they're going to say, oh, let's blame cows on the environment, when the cows can help the environment.
Right.
Using regenerative agriculture, especially, right? I don't want them to go to feedlots, right? That's how most cattle end up in feedlots, right? That's not the good way to do it. But doing it properly, leaving them out on the land, grazing them, you have a plan where they go to different paddocks each day and they graze the grass appropriately, and they help feed it with their manure, and they even just them eating it stimulates the growth, and they're getting the diet that they need, a diverse diet of different grass species and forages, and they're healthier, their meat is healthier, and the land is healthier. So that's kind of the episode 6 of Food Lies kind of debunks the whole environmental side, that this is not the problem. The cows are not the problem.
Right. So what's the problem with the feedlots then?
So it's just an unnatural way to do it. It's kind of like, why are humans getting sick? We're in human feedlots, right? You just corral people into cities and live an unnatural life with an unnatural diet, and you end up like we are, right? There's a bunch of stats out there about how like 2/3 of people are obese and diabetic, right? 88% of people are not metabolically healthy anymore.
Jeez.
Well, we're in that feedlot, right? We're not eating the right food and we're not having the right environment. So the same thing with the cow. If it's sitting on dirt, right? If they're in this concentrated operation, they're getting fed just random corn and soy and leftovers. That's not what they're supposed to eat. I mean, it fattens them up quickly, but that's not what they're meant to eat, right? So then they start getting unhealthy, and that it's the same story. It's just, you can't cheat nature. That's kind of the ultimate thing I learned as you zoom out more and more. Every time you try to cheat nature, you lose.
Wow.
Right? It's like nature knows, like there's nature's ratios of like what humans need, right? We need to be outside. We need to have purpose. We need to move. We need to have real food. And if you start changing that, the more you go away from it, the worse you get. And it's kind of like all of society. Like we're talking about purposeful, having purpose in life, or depression, or is going up, right? All these things are going up in a bad way. It's because if you take people away from community and having purpose, then they're going to lose. It's going to go off, right? That's not natural for them. And then yes, they are going to get depressed, and there's going to be more. They're going to be these things because you take them away from their natural habitat.
Yeah. And I feel like social media amplifies that. There's all these diet wars on Instagram and Twitter. Every day I see it, and it's like, why are you focusing your energy on that? You know what I mean? People get so passionate about it too.
Yeah. You have to purposefully go away from it. And I'm on Instagram. You know, I'm in it a little bit, but you have to. I said nature's ratio. There is a balance to it. There is a ratio of it. Like you can have a little bit of processed foods. You know, if I'm at someone's birthday party, maybe I can have a little bit of, you know, I'll have what they're eating, but that's not what I'm doing every day at all.
Right.
Like 99% of the time I'm making my own food. I'm doing it. And yes, you can go on Instagram a little, it's not going to kill you, but when we shift that ratio way off from what we're supposed to, and then you're just doom scrolling.
Yeah.
Then
Which
it's
is a
going to
lot
go
of
bad.
people.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I noticed like all my most viral clips is a debate, you know. It's part of the algorithm. Like they want you to debate each other.
Yeah.
It gets more views.
And yeah, like hate comments and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
tons of
noticed
those.
that too. Yeah, my things, it's like the most hate comments you can get, it goes more viral.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Yeah.
It's like they kind of reward hate almost on
Yeah.
social media. Because
Yeah, I know
those are
that-
what goes viral.
Then I'm incentivized to post more controversial
That's what I mean.
clips.
Yeah. So it's the game we play as content creators. Even though we're not trying to do that, it's kind of like
It kind of happens.
happens.
Yeah.
It's part of the game. I mean, I kind of don't like it because all my positive posts don't get the same engagement, man. Like all my inspiring messages and everything.
Exactly. Oh, I do like good content about like, here's like nutrient to energy ratio. Like this is, you know, give them like good practical information.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. And then you post an OnlyFans girl and it gets 1 million views. Crazy.
It's our world these days.
Well, I can't wait to see your film, man. Anything else you want to promote or close off with?
Yeah, you can check out the intro on my Food Lies YouTube channel. So we have a 3.5-minute intro to the film. So I think that'd be great for people to watch.
We'll link it in the description.
Yeah, it gets everyone fired up. And yeah, we're just trying to finish it. If anyone knows how to get something on Netflix, that's been hard too.
Netflix. Yeah, well, Big Food probably funds them, to be honest. So
They like the plant-based narrative. And I mean, it's not like I've talked to them directly, but I'm just worried they're not going to want this. Even though it's Netflix quality, it's like really quality. We spent years, you know, doing motion graphics, like custom score, like custom everything, like really well done. And it's just crickets so far. I guess I'm not connected to the right Hollywood people.
I'll see what I could do for you. Maybe Hulu or Apple TV or.
I'm gonna check them all out. Yeah.
I would contact them all and see who gives the best offer, honestly.
Yeah, that's our next plan here.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. We'll link your Instagram below as well.
All right, thanks, man.
Perfect. Thanks for watching, guys. As always. See you next time.